With silver being so much in demand in 2020, it can be very difficult to know what is the best kind of silver that can protect you and your wealth into the unknown of the future. Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here, and a warm welcome to today's video, which, as I said, is all going to be about what is the best kind of silver. Now, silver is silver. That is part of the topic of today's video. We've got an array of different types out here, and ultimately silver is precious. It is valuable, and it will always have a certain inherent value to it, depending on values of currencies, markets, and so on. So in a certain way, you can't go far wrong with any kind of silver, but there are definitely advantages and disadvantages of some of the different types that are out there. And I thought I'd make a little bit of a collection of this, but more focusing on what is the best kind of silver to have in the event of the big financial collapse that a lot of people think might well be coming in the not too distant future. With everything that's going on in the world right now, it is very evident that there are a lot of uncertain times ahead, and nobody truly knows what's going to happen. And I've always been an advocate for silver being a wealth preserver, being a wealth protector, rather than something that I would stack for a collapse, for the complete decimation of all of the major world's currencies. But as time goes on, as the world descends into the craziness that is 2020 and beyond, that is more of a likely scenario than it was in previous years. And I will still say that I don't think it's going to be likely, and even if we did get there, I don't think that this stuff here will be the new monetary norm. I'll say that right now. But I do think that it has a big part to play, and its part to play is growing as time goes by. So lots of ground to cover today. It's important to remind you all that I am not a financial advisor. I am just a guy who likes to play with shiny things here on YouTube. So any financial decisions that you make having watched this video are yours and yours alone. And that's a message that I would always advocate, whatever your position, whether you're a huge stacker and you're looking to buy kilos of gold or silver, or whether you are just starting out now and you're looking to get hold of some silver. So I'll start with the first little topic here of silver's silver. It is always valuable, and that is undoubtedly true. And there's a reason why I have things like this little test tube here of dust. This dust here is the scrapings, the dust that's come off when I've sanded down some of my silver pieces that I've been making recently. More importantly, the silver chess set, which will be coming very soon. And in this test tube alone, there's about 48 grams, I think, of silver. So it's, it's still valuable. This stuff here can still be liquidated for cash. It can be taken into taken to or sent to a bullion dealer, and they will assay it, and then they will give me some money for it. So silver is always valuable, whatever form it takes, whether that be as low as, I think I've seen 10% silver coins, there's some Mexican 10% silver coins, all the way up to the finest pure silver that you can buy out there. It is all still valuable. It is all done on its weight. Now, the disadvantage of things like this is you will not get very good returns on your money. This stuff here, when it was in its pure form before, so this is the kind of before and after, it would have been certain price, above spot price for this stuff here in the UK, or around spot price in the US, I think, for some casting grain suppliers. Although, from memory, actually, I think you guys pay taxes on casting grain. But the point is that it loses value the more you process it, and the more that somebody else has to process it when they take it off you at the other end. So this stuff here is, of course, completely impractical for even the most basic things of trading. If you were to go down the route of having the complete financial collapse of a currency and you were looking to use silver as a bartering tool, we've seen stories out from various countries around the world, Zimbabwe and Venezuela, two big case studies in point, where silver and gold have been that common medium for people to use as currencies, to buy the necessities, to buy food, to have shelter, to buy homes and cars or whatever, petrol. So there's loads of different benefits for having the different metals and having silver, but I genuinely don't think that's the way the world will go. I do think that that's going to have some issue, and having things like this this off shoots from the sanding process is going to be next to useless in those kind of scenarios. Yes, in theory it's still valuable, but the person who takes it off you will either have to find somebody else who wants it in this raw form, or they'll have to refine it and melt it themselves. And of course in here there's going to be little specks of other elements. You know, the sandpapers have in their own right, they have their own different elements involved in them. Some of them have metals in them, so there's going to be sand, there's going to be other things in there as well, so it's not pure anymore. And the same kind of argument can go for casting grain, and a lot of people get confused thinking it's one of the cheapest mediums of silver you can buy. Of course it is, it's great, but it is also completely impractical for, you know, just going out and using as a barter tool. If we go to a shop and try and buy anything with one tiny little grain of silver, you know, first you'd have to have some super accurate weighing scales to even register its weight. You'd have to know without a shadow of a doubt what the purity is, and that's very difficult to do with something so small. Yes, you can have XRF machines, but are you really going to go through, you know, in this tiny little third of a pot, there's got to be at least 1,000 or more individual pieces of silver. So it's just really impractical and not very good. You know, another impractical thing is having something like this, the big giant chunks of silver. Now this is arguably not going to be used in a grocery shopping environment. You're not going to pop down to the shops and buy a loaf of bread and some milk with this. This is very much more that larger purchase type thing you'd want to buy. You know, what can 100 ounces of silver buy you now? You know, 100 ounces times $25, $2,500. What can that buy you? A second-hand car. It can probably pay your rent for a couple of months. You know, there's a whole host of different things that can be done with this. And of course, having such a large chunk, it's not very easy to get change from this. One of the advantages of having smaller denomination silver is that you can get change out of things. And that brings me on to the less than pure and coin form silver. So let's get started first with sort of modern coin form silver. You know, 999 silver I think is always a good bet to have, in my opinion, because it's already been refined into its purest form. So if we do get to a point down the line where somebody is going to be using this as a barter society, and you are looking to, you know, you've got your roll of eagles and you want to try and buy something, theoretically the buyer or the seller and the seller will be able to use this quite easily going on future down the line. It's, you know, it's gov-minted, so you know that it's met to a certain degree of standard. It's also got obviously easy weights and dimensions to test and to look at. You know, even older coins, which yes, you can argue they're all sort of standard weights and dimensions, but as you can see, coins wear, and certainly old school coins will wear, which will of course affect their overall weight. So whilst you could say, you know, 10 of these would equal one of these, it doesn't always work that way because the weight of the silver might be different. So 999 silver is always a good bet to have for sure, but it does have its downsides. Of course, it's you know, incredibly malleable and incredibly easy to kind of scratch and dent. Now that's not necessarily going to be a problem if you're in an apocalyptic world scenario where you're buying your groceries with this, but at the same time, you know, if you have a big lump of 999 silver and you drop it and it warps and bends, it might well potentially damage it to the point where it's not really that easy to use or to sell on. So that's definitely a factor to play. So 90% on sterling silver, you know, the world coins, the coins that the world used to use, I say 90%, I picked up a bunch of these Mexican anniversary coins, which I think are 83.5%. So there's a whole host of different metal types from the world, but one thing they all had in common was their silver as that base metal content. Silver is valuable. It always has been valuable. It has always been that monetary metal, which is one of the arguments that a lot of people use to say that into the future you will get, you know, money being used again as silver. In that sort of collapse, in that economic complete fall from grace of dollars and pounds and euros and yen or whatever it might be, you know, you will potentially have these coming back into fashion. And it's not necessarily then going to be about what the type of coin is. Of course, there's going to be a little bit of relevance to that if you're in an apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic world in the US. Of course, old US coins are going to be much more easily recognized. People are going to know what they are. People are going to use them and accept them more readily, of course. But ultimately, silver is going to be that barter tool. And whether or not that then becomes into the realms of people making their own coins, their own money, it could well be. We've already seen things like the gold backs, which are these gold notes, gold-backed notes from, I think they're Utah, aren't they? And I'm not a fan of those personally because they are at such high premiums at the moment, but the argument there is if one day silver and gold prices go to the moon, then you'll get your money back on them and you'll be able to use them as currency. Arguably for me, I think that's not really the sound argument. I think it's personally a bit of a marketing gimmick for those kind of Utah gold backs and things. I can't see, and this is my honest opinion, I can't see gold and silver being used in a regular barter economy anytime soon. Now, of course, I will concede that the world is crazy right now, and there could be some significant changes in values of currencies, and we might well end up having to use some of this stuff. But if we look at the case studies in point, we've got to look at what we know in the world. There's been a lot of world collapses in the past, financial collapses from various different countries around the world. The world has gone through 2 world wars in the last 100 and bit years, and it has had financial depressions and collapses, and we're going through arguably one of the worst that the world has ever seen in 2020. But one thing that the human race has always done is it always recovers to normality. And what does normality mean? Normality in my eyes means that at some point in the not too distant future, the world will inevitably come back to how we look to work in this modern world. People want to just get on with their lives. They want to go to work. They want to get paid. They want to eat. They want to have shelter over their heads. People don't want an apocalyptic world scenario where they have to, dug out and or dig into their own bunkers and go down to the shops to buy food with these. It's not what people want, and in those type of situations you'll inevitably get scenarios where the wealth divide raises even further. And for us who sit at home with our wonderful piles of silver already, we are fortunate to have this, and it's one of those things where there's a lot of people out there who will be looking at our videos and thinking, I need to get that, I need that to protect myself. Ultimately, I don't see any of those scenarios happening, and even if we did see those scenarios happening, I can't see it being a long-term one. And to be perfectly honest, and I have said this on my channel before, if there was an apocalyptic collapse of financial institutions and world governments, there will be anarchy, there'll be civil wars, there'll be intercontinental wars as well as inter-country wars. The world will change, the world will be completely different, and I have absolutely no doubt that I will be in the first wave of people not to survive that kind of thing. And if you think you'd be a survivor and you'll be bugged out in a bunker somewhere and running your own bank with silver and gold, then fine. I'm not going to besmudge your opinions on that. That is your choice to do, but it is not why I stack silver, and it is not, in my opinion, the best reason to be stacking silver. One thing, though, that this pile here does is it protects my wealth for the way that I want to live my life and the way that I can envisage the world continuing to look to live. It is not about having a bunker and being, a bank in an apocalyptic world scenario for me. It is about just having the cash, the diversification of assets, such that if the value of the pound or the value of the dollar goes down considerably, which is quite likely to happen, I will still have some buying power within the money that I have in my bank accounts that I've converted into this stuff. And that's an important thing for anybody to remember, that it is all about wealth preservation. It is not about preparing yourself for an apocalyptic zombie world scenario. It is just, it's just about having a good, diverse portfolio, in my opinion. So that said, there are a whole host of different things. It's going to depend on everybody's individual circumstances of what type of silver that you want to buy. From my mindset, I would say at the moment a mix is always good, definitely. I have, as you can see, got a mix of old world silver coins that are not pure 999 silver, but of course I also do have a lot of 999 pure silver. So it's one of those things where I don't want to come across as hypocritical, because I do have all of this stuff, but it's not there as a protection against a zombie apocalypse or as a financial kind of apocalypse. It's very much still silver, and silver is silver at the end of the day. That is the ultimate thing here that you need to understand. Whether you're buying casting grain because you like the look and feel of it and you want to be Scrooge McDuck and get diving in there, or whether you're just having the offcuts and offshoots of pouring, keeping it is still valuable. It is still silver. It has still got value to it, and over time that value will grow. It's just the natural way of things. So whether it be a giant big 100-ounce bar, or I have not even opened my little pouch here, I haven't even talked about the wonders of gold. So even if it is gold that survives through time, and this is one which I will be talking about on the channel at another point in the future. This is a gold sovereign, if we can ever get the camera to focus, a gold shield-backed sovereign that I and my brother have half inherited each from our grandfather, our other grandfather. And you know, this is just exactly what gold and silver are for, preserving wealth through time. So that is basically all I have to say on this matter. There are a whole host of different things that you can look to do with your silver purchases, whether it be old constitutional, hand-poured silver, modern-day bullion, casting grain, or even just scrap. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section of which is best for you and which you target for your silver purchasing. There's a lot of different opinions, and the reason I make these videos is to get that different flow of opinions coming into that comment section. So please feel free to comment down below. All I ask is you be respectful of mine and other people's opinions. Otherwise, that is it from me today. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, put a thumbs up on it and share it around on your social media. That would be very helpful for everything that we do here on the channel. Subscribe if you want to see future videos and hit the alarm bell for notifications. Otherwise, that's it. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching, and please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.